Need a laptop that's built to perform and designed to last all day? Select Windows 11 PCs starting at $499.99 are now at Best Buy. Learn more at bestbuy.com. Best Buy. Imagine that.
The Rita Cosby Show. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I know your name is Rita. 'Cause your perfume is smelling sweet. Since when I saw you down on the floor.
Breaking news.
And tonight on the Rita Cosby Show, developments coming fast and furious regarding Iran. President Trump saying there's no limits on power when it comes to Iran, going up against Iran in an interview with Axios just coming out. We're going to play a few more clips of that because it's very revealing, very interesting. And also, we're getting word that Steve Witkoff, the special envoy and close friend to President Trump, along with Jared Kushner, his son-in-law, that they are there in Switzerland and that Kushner may already be there. That he was hoping for talks and that it looks like maybe now they are back on with the Iranian Foreign Minister Araghchi. So let's see. Maybe the talks will start again. Again, peace through strength. That is always President Trump's motto. And President Trump clearly always lives up to it, too. This is a guy with action. So when he says, guess what? You're finished, Iran. They suddenly, it looks like maybe went, whoa. Actually, maybe we will talk. Because certainly maybe the next layer of targets might have been Carg Island, might have been the IRGC headquarters. There are a lot of things that could have potentially been on the plate. And meantime, here is President Trump, because he was asked in this interview, as I mentioned with Axios, and he was asked, could there have been other things to hit? What would have been next? What could you have done still more? This was when it looked like things were kind of coming together. With the peace deal. It's still very well made. Peace is always tough, especially when you're dealing with the Middle East. But here is President Trump talking about what he could or couldn't have done maybe with Iran.
Think of it. Oh, why aren't you tougher? The only way I can get tougher is if I go in there for another 2 or 3 weeks and continue to bomb the hell out of them, right? But what does that get us? The Strait of Hormuz will not be open. Let's say I did that. Let's say I decided to do that. It was a decision I had to make. So right now our stock market is through the roof. The oil prices are tumbling. The oil prices are practically the same as they were before I started. The big difference is that Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. They're never going to have a nuclear weapon, okay? It's very clear and very simple. But if I were hitting them right now, when you stopped, if we're not going to put boots on the ground, okay? I mean, you don't want boots on the ground, right? If we're not going to put boots on the ground, probably the same people, they go deep into the caves. They're called granite caves. They're very powerful. They go deep in, and then when we stop, they'll come up and they'll probably be the same leaders. So nothing. Okay, ready? When I knock them out, we knock them out so powerfully. We would right now have the Hormuz Strait would be totally closed. You would have mines all over it, and it would have missiles flying over $1 billion ships, and those ships will never sail. We wouldn't have oil for months. As long as you're dropping bombs, that thing is automatically closed because those ships cost $500 to $1 billion apiece. They're not going to be sailing with rockets. So just to finish, I just looked. Oil is tumbling. The ships are roaring out of there. They want to go home. They want to drop. They're all full with oil. This is a gusher. I mean, we have 700 or 800 ships are leaving. But if I attack them, none of those ships are leaving. The stock market is way up, way up. The stock market is up over the last 4 or 5 days when it looks like we're going to make a deal. Stock market's up thousands of points. Everybody's richer. Now, would you rather have that or be like some stupid people? I'd be honest with you. I lost respect for some people because
who'd you lose respect?
I don't want to mention the names.
Oh, you can.
But hardliners. Oh, you got to take them out yet?
Well, what are you going to
let me tell you? And plus, I'm not looking to kill people.
Always thinking of how to find a deal for peace, but also backing it up with strength. And what I always say about President Trump, he's always very candid. I mean, that truly is how he feels. You heard what he said. I could go in there and bomb the hell out of them, but I'd much rather have a peace deal. That's been his premise all along. And I would say that's a pretty sound mission. So he's going to give this 60 days, see where it goes, open to discussions. He's obviously listening to Arab countries who want a deal too as well, but they also have to enforce this too. And that's part of the plan as well. So there's a lot of layers to this. And then President Trump was asked in that Axios interview, guys, he was asked about his legacy. This is interesting.
How do you maintain your power going forward? You have the Senate that's rebelling.
Think about it. No, I don't think about it. All I do is do my job. I have more than 2.5 years. I have a lot of time. But all I do is think about doing my job. And we have other things, very big things that I want to do in the next 2.5 years. Some very impactful things. Things are happening that aren't good, and I'm going to straighten them out. And some things are happening that should be better, and I'm going to make them better. This is a great presidency.
Can you imagine what he has on plate? There's some things that are bad that I want to fix, and there's things I want to make better. I'd be curious, what is it? What's next? Is Cuba next? There's a lot of things that could be on the plate. This has been truly the most ambitious presidency, and I think the most impactful. It's really been amazing to watch what he has to do. And he's thinking, okay, I got 2.5 years. This is my plan. Obviously, he'd like to wrap this up. He'd like to also see some sort of peace come between Russia and Ukraine. He spent his 80th birthday, remember, on the phone with Russia and then on the phone with Ukraine. I mean, that certainly says a lot. So obviously, he's got a lot of other big things that he wants to solve, and he's hoping to solve them all before he goes. But yet, the Democrats will not give him one iota of respect. It's all Trump derangement syndrome, that's for sure. Listen to Seth Moulton. This is Democrat of Massachusetts. And he just blasted President Trump and this memorandum of understanding. Listen to this.
Right.
Not a good deal.
And you're right that in the first graph of the JCPOA, it does say Iran wouldn't create a nuclear weapon. But as you know, Republicans criticize it, including Trump, because of that sunset provision. We'll see what they're able to negotiate now. And I'm wondering what you think about the president formally signing the Iran deal at Versailles last night. What do you think of that symbolism?
I mean, it's an appropriate place to sign a surrender document. And it's too bad that the president is completely oblivious to history to understand the parallels there. But it is amazing that Trump and these MAGA Republicans lost their minds over Obama giving less than $2 billion to the Iranians when they're talking about giving $325 billion to this regime, a regime that's actually even more hardline than when we started this war, because they took out an 86-year-old in failing health with a fatwa against producing nuclear weapons and replaced him with someone who was more hardline in his 50s. Just in case he wasn't hardline enough, they killed his immediate family. I mean, this could be a lot worse. Just to assume that Iran's going to legitimately come to the table and negotiate a good nuclear deal in a mere 60 days, that's a huge assumption coming out of this MOU. Mm-hmm. And so while we're glad that Trump has finally ended this war he should never have started, it's not even clear that it's going to be permanently ended, let alone that we're going to be better off than when he began.
And you say,
I mean, there is nothing in there that he can praise President Trump for. First, they didn't like that he went in. Then they didn't like that he put it on pause. Then they didn't like that he had a memorandum of understanding. He could walk on water, and they would say that's not a good thing for the environment. 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Susan in New York on line 1. Go ahead, Susan.
You've had quite a night with the TDS callers there, the one from the Bronx and Stan there from Forest Hills. You did a great job with that Nate. Maybe he doesn't know that Donald Trump, since he was age 32, 33 years old, has been talking about how that Iran needs to be dealt with, especially the nuclear threat. That was when our hostages were taken. That was back in 1970. I think it was.
Yes, it was.
Right?
Yes, it was. Exactly.
Okay,
For this guy to think, the previous caller, for him to think that Israel is a bigger threat than Iran, that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I haven't heard Israel say death to America, and not only threaten death, they've already massacred a bunch of Americans and many others. So these people, and then he's telling you that you don't know history. Oh my God, you really beautiful job because you exposed him.
Do I get the Patience Award tonight, Susan, for that?
I think you get some champagne after work for sure. And then, Stan is Stan. But I thought I really want to get your feedback because we've all been, I know you and I have talked about it and many about the Iranian people, what they've already had even just this year earlier when they tried to take the streets and they're still being slaughtered by the IRG.
Right.
But I'm just wondering if there might actually be, some covert things going on with our either special forces or CIA, and that this with time that with these 60-day things, and of course it's being, and I even think that when Donald Trump was kind of whining about the Kurds and the guns never got there, then maybe that was a bit of a smokescreen, and maybe this is really happening. We don't really know, right?
Yeah, we don't know. And we don't know if President Trump has been working behind the scenes to do, for all we know, there could be some mass planning with them rising up. At the same time, there might be some simultaneous strikes coming in. I mean, there could be a whole bunch of things that are happening. But it's funny you bring up the people there, and I say funny and not in the funny way, but in a way that I've been thinking about them so much today, the heroic people of Iran, because I have to wonder what are they thinking at this moment, and I'm sure they're on pins and needles too, wondering where will this go and what does this mean for them. And clearly, President Trump absolutely cared about them and hates these ideas of executions that were happening. So I don't believe that he's just going to walk away and say, good luck. I do believe that there's some alternative plan that's in the works. It may take time because you're dealing with such fanatics. And the last thing, too, also, Susan, remember when everything happened, he said to them, I'll remember on day one, he said to the people there of Iran, I will tell you when it's ready to come to the streets. He has not said that yet. So he knows that, the temperature, the moment is not right yet. And the last thing he wants to do is to put them in even more danger by taking to the streets now and truly getting slaughtered until they can get the weaponry. But I think there is some sort of a master plan. And I think, we'll see what happens in the near future. Susan, thank you very much. Always great to hear from you. Let's go to Dom in Minnesota on line 5. Go ahead, Dom, on line 5.
Yeah, Rita, can you hear me okay now?
I hear you great. Go ahead.
Well, I'm going to wait 60 days till I buy my new phone. That way, price of gas is going to come down by then.
Oh, by the way, it's already come down. And President Trump said it would drop. It's already come down like lightning speed. Hey, Dom, you're breaking up. Dom, I might need to buy you a new phone. What's going on? Hey, Dom, it's breaking up. You got to call back again. We do need to get you a new phone. You're a nice guy. You deserve a new phone. Let's go to John in Minnesota on line 2. Go ahead, John.
Thanks, Rita. Say at the beginning of your show, I think you played some remarks by President Trump. Did I hear him correctly when he said that Iran was just weeks away from getting a bomb?
Yeah, he said that that was the case in June. He has always maintained that they were weeks away in June, and that's why they struck in June those B-2 bombers that hit the 3 sites. Remember, he's always said that he believed they were physically weeks, and I've heard even 2-3 weeks. I mean, that's frightening.
Oh, so that's the material that supposedly is under the mountain, then, I guess. Anyway,
yes.
I've been a long time Trump supporter, but I am just furious with this ongoing, never-ending saga of peace is just a few days away. They wanted 6 days. We gave them 10. Now they've got 60 days. And I think he came to this decision because he's responding to the backlash of high gas prices. I don't know if you heard Trey Gowdy's assessment and General Keene's assessment.
Yes, I have. By the way, absolutely. I've heard both of them. And I think that they are correct. I think he was looking at politics. But did you hear, what was interesting, Robert?
The Rita Cosby Show, entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Rita Cosby Show, entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Starting a business can seem like a daunting task, unless you have a partner like Shopify. They have the tools you need to start and grow your business. From designing a website to marketing to selling and beyond, Shopify can help with everything you need. There's a reason millions of companies like Mattel, Heinz, and Allbirds continue to trust and use them. With Shopify on your side, turn your big business idea into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
And when we come back, we'll take your calls. Also, new news about Jimmy Kimmel and Rosie O'Donnell.
The Rita Cosby Show, entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And there's a lot of news happening on a Friday night. First off, Jimmy Kimmel, who has certainly had no love lost with Donald Trump. Remember the terrible things he also said about Charlie Kirk. Well, Jimmy Kimmel is now taking a little bit of a vacation, and he says as he's stepping back for a little bit of time, he said he's taking the next 2 months off. That sounds like a pretty good deal. Wow. He says this time voluntarily, and he said there will be a rotating group of guest hosts, including, get this, Trump nemesis Rosie O'Donnell. Along with a number of others. But that will be interesting to see her there on the Jimmy Kimmel Show. And speaking of Trump nemesis, J.B. Pritzker. He is the billionaire Hyatt hotel heir, kind of hinting that he may be a possible 2028 presidential candidate. The guy has increased taxes tremendously in his state as he is running now for a third term as governor. And, of course, so many problems in the state of Chicago, state of Illinois. And he's had a lot of issues there, with crime and illegal immigration, all these things. And he said he will be very involved in the 2028 presidential election, and also saying that Democrats have lost their way. He also says that Democrats need a renewal of American values. So what does he mean by that? Well, take a listen to Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders last night, was at a rally in New York. He was there with Zohran Mamdani and these very sort of radical, very extreme Democratic candidates there in the primary next Tuesday against some common sense Democrats. But it looks like the Democratic Party is having a big time civil war. And Bernie Sanders says that there should be a lot more Mamdanis around the country, that he should be the model of what is to come. Take a listen to Bernie Sanders, who's sort of the father of the loony progressive movement.
In the last 8 months, progressive and democratic socialist candidates all over this country have been winning major victories.
So we need to model the Mamdani model, was his next line. And one of them is this woman, Daraliza Avila Chevalier. And she is like anti-Israel. She also wants non-citizens to vote. How does that sound? And here she is. This is at a rally on October 8th, right after October 7th. And listen to the horrible things she was saying at this pro-Hamas, pro-Palestinian rally.
Who is the terrorist? Who is the terrorist? The United States of America. We feel the Palestinian blood. We feel the Palestinian blood. And we stand in solidarity with Palestine. We have the historic responsibility
I went to Wikipedia this morning to look at the map of where the resistance is, and as of at least this morning.
And you could hear her yelling, and there were obviously a lot of other people yelling there in the background, too. By the way, Cory Booker, senator of New Jersey, just making a statement that's getting a lot of headlines, saying that the U.S. and Israel are the worst democracies on earth. Isn't that lovely? And you're a U.S. senator. 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. And also, not to be outdone, in the last few hours, a whole bunch of new details are coming out about Graham Plattner. He, of course, is the candidate there in Maine who is running for Senate on the Democratic side, the guy with the Nazi tattoo. And there's a whole bunch of different tweets where he's come out blasting so many police officers and just saying some really vile things. At one point, calling police officers a bunch of overweight pansies. He says all cops are bastards. Not bad. That's the acronym. And then also saying it's almost as if there's a problem that extends deep into the profession of policing, of cops as a whole, calling them opportunistic cowards. And this guy is running to represent the U.S. in any shape or form. Please, we have a lot of listeners in Maine that love the Rita Cosby Show and love America. Do not pick this guy. This guy is just horrible and vile in any shape or form. I haven't heard any redeeming quality yet. I don't even like his plaid shirts. 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Stan is back from Forest Hills on line 2. Stan, back by popular demand. Go ahead, Stan.
Who's the popular and what's the demand? That's what anyway.
Yeah, I didn't say which, right?
Yeah. Yesterday, I voted. You can vote in the primary here in New York early, and I voted. And I saw a problem. When you got the form, it listed it was a Democratic primary, but it just said their names. It didn't say DL, like a Democratic Liberal, or DS. So how do you know what they are? So I spoke to the coordinator. I said, excuse me, you don't list what they are. We know they're Democrats, Democratic Liberal. You could be voting for someone who isn't what you want. It could be a Democratic Socialist and so forth. But there's no listing at all on the primary of what they are in terms of the yes. You've seen them on ballots and so forth. They didn't have it on the ballot.
Now, why do you make that? I mean, maybe
I don't know. I was concerned about it myself.
Maybe they want people who not to really know. I mean, who knows? And I'll also
I
say
said that. You're right. I said that. Yeah.
Which is why voters have to get educated whenever they go to the primaries. There's so many different ones across this country,
right?
And they have to get really educated. And how about sometimes placement matters too, where the names are. We saw that in the mayor's race, but a lot of these things are pretty abundantly clear when it comes to the Chevalier. Some of the other ones that are running, there's a couple of, and so how did you feel? I'm not going to ask you who you voted for, but.
Oh, I don't mind telling you. I voted for Grace Kim.
Okay.
She's a good congresswoman. She's a Democrat. She's liberal, but not progressive.
Right.
And she has a guy who's a Democratic socialist running against her. And I already met this guy. I tell him, you're going to lose, so walk away now. But she has, I think she'll win re-election again. But most of them are, there's a lot of Democratic Socialists on the ballot. But you can't, I know the names, but they don't say that they're Democratic Socialists.
Exactly. No, exactly. So are you worried? You're a Democrat, obviously, Stan. So are you worried that some of these folks that are not like Grace Kim, that are taking over the party? I mean, I just cited the Chevalier.
They're making a major inroads. I agree with you, absolutely. But here's the point. None of them, let's be real, none of them will ever be elected president.
Oh, I disagree. No,
she'll go back to pretending bar.
Stan,
they will never.
I disagree. I actually.
You think AOC can be elected? You're right. I don't think so.
I think she will try to run. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not sure that
you're
she's
allowed
elected.
to run. The question is winning and taking the party into the toilet.
The problem is, Stan, that what they're doing is they are eating their young. That if you're not with them, they go after you. They primary you.
I have seen that and so forth.
And I have a lot of friends who are reasonable Democrats that are common sense that are really troubled, and seeing this disturbing trend. And they're for keeps. And let's not forget, at the beginning of the mayoral race, obviously as things progressed, things got different. But in the early days, nobody took Zoran Mondani seriously.
It's true.
And you look at Adam Holloway. That's the guy in New Jersey, the guy who was the character witness for the blind sheikh. So you can't underestimate these people.
I don't underestimate them, but
I'm not saying you. I'm just saying Americans can't.
I think many. I think they have a foothold, but I don't think they will take over the party yet. I don't think that will happen. The point I wanted to talk quickly about is what's going on with the intelligence agency. The president put in a guy who has absolutely no. I'm wondering how our country is going to be secure. He puts in a guy who has no experience. What's her name? Had to leave because her husband's ill. I understood that. I'm not a fan of hers, but he puts in somebody with no experience, and he's going to chop the intelligence agency down. We need more intelligence. We don't need less. Trump is going after the intelligence agency.
Well, he's going after who he believes is sort of the deep state. And you have to admit that there does seem to be a number of people in various agencies that seem to be working against him. I mean, you look at what happened with the Russia hoax, and you look what happened with the Mar-a-Lago raid. And this guy, Bill Pulte, who is the acting, is only going to be acting. He's already made it clear that he wants to put Jay Clayton, who is the U.S. attorney in the Southern District, great guy, highly accomplished, seems to be appreciated by all sides, that is his intent to make him the full one, and that he put his name up for nomination. He kind of withdrew it. He put it on hold, but that he's going to come back to that. So this is only temporary, but, come on. There are definitely people working within the agency that obviously were working against the president in the past, and he believes still some that are in there today. And if they are, they shouldn't be there, no matter who's the president. You can't have people undermining America, whether it's Republican or Democrat. Stan, it's always good to hear from you. Have a great Father's Day. Thanks so much. Let's go to Tom in New Jersey on line 1. Go ahead, Tom.
Hey, good evening. Okay, I have a question here. How is a two-term Obama able to send pallets of cash over to Iran and then willingly choose not to pay for his windowless library?
Oh, you're talking about the contractors, because the contractors are bad. And by the way, African American.
How could all that cash go to Iran on pallets, and then he would just disrespect and not pay for the work that was done for him?
Well, they're two different things. Although I will say his windowless structure, his library is ugly as hell. We had Blagojevich on earlier in the week, and I love Rod Blagojevich. He's, of course, the former governor of Illinois. And Rod was so funny because he was just saying he said it's uglier than the prison that he was in.
You see, I'm an oddball. I actually kind of like the way it looks.
Oh, you do? See, I don't. I think it's
I
like,
really do.
Oh, hold on one second. Hold on.
I'm a left-handed Aquarian, and that is perfect for me. I love that kind of stuff. I'm not kidding you.
Wait, so what is a left-handed Aquarian? How does that make that building more appealing? Explain that.
Because it has a more of an artistic, oddball kind of look to it.
So
that's the only way I can describe it.
Yeah, it does. By the way, it has a really weird look, but it looks to me it's not appealing. Hold on a sec, Tom. I want to play it. Here's Blagojevich talking about it.
Look, I don't know the feeling that he has. And I don't mean to be disrespectful to President Obama, because, look, he was the president, God bless him, and he's right to have a library, and you're right, it's great that all the other presidents came there. But you know how I'm going to treat the presidential library, Obama's presidential library, John Catsimatidis? I'm going to treat it the way I treated the law school library when I was there. I'm just not going to go.
And then he said the prison that he was in was more appealing than the Obama library.
All right.
But by the way,
All right,
you're the first person I've heard who likes it, Tom. So you're restoring my faith.
But I still don't understand why he can't pay for it.
Yes.
What
So
is-
let me get
where
to
is the
that.
roadblock
Yeah.
for
Hold
him
on,
paying
Tom.
them?
Let me get to that because let's explain the difference. One is, of course, the money that came in. Those were from unfrozen U.S. assets. And remember, he snuck them in the middle of the night. I believe it was in euros. And remember, pallets of cash in the middle of the night. That was not his personal funds. It was America's funds. It was, funds that were going, unfrozen assets going to them. That's one. The other is with a library. When you look at the library, in this case, some of the funds are taxpayers from Illinois, but that was just more sort of structural stuff. Most of it was paid by private donations. That's the way it works with these libraries. You get private donors covering it. So that would be private donor funds. And there is clearly a dispute, as you just said, with subcontractors, but those are private donor funds that should have gone towards some of the structural stuff that's happening, and they did not get paid. So that is clearly an Obama library funding issue. And you're right. It seems like you would think that, both are sort of similar. They're different pockets that they're coming from. And regardless, I think you should be paying your black subcontractors African American, especially if you're the first African American president. That's just my opinion. Tom, thank you. And I like the left-handed Aquarius line. That's a good thing to know. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. We're going to take your calls when we come back. But first,
The Rita Cosby Show presents Support Our Heroes.
and this is the Tunnel to Towers Foundation Support Our Heroes segment. And this is a very special story from Pearl Land, Texas, where Charles Mills, who I know and I love and I adore, and I have had the honor to meet him and his fabulous family. Well, he is a living legacy. As just yesterday, he turned 106 years old. Charles Mills joined the Merchant Marines, the best, and served in World War II. He dedicated 5 decades of his life to maritime service, becoming a maritime union representative. And in May 2022, he was awarded, along with all the other heroic merchant mariners, the Congressional Gold Medal. And that was awarded to them there on Capitol Hill. I was so honored to be there with Charles and his family and so many other merchant mariners. By the way, Charles is one of the sharpest guys I know, one of the most wonderful guys I know. He says his words of advice for survival are study and prepare yourself because someday your chance will come. His other motto is, he says, my advice is to treat people like they want to be treated. That will take you a long, long way in life. And he is absolutely beloved. And by the way, Charles is married. He raised 6 children. He built an extensive family that now includes, get this, 11 grandkids, 22 great-grandchildren, and 19 great-great-grandchildren. I would say that is quite a legacy. And Charles Mills is one of the great heroes out there. Be sure to also check out all the U.S. Merchant Marines and what they did to fight for freedom in World War II and other conflicts. They are just absolutely incredible. Charles, we love you. Happy birthday. And I hope to celebrate with you when you turn 107. I can't wait. I love you and love your family. And everybody, help America to never, ever forget. Donate $11 a month to the incredible Tunnel to Towers Foundation. They are the absolute best. Check them out at T2T.org. That's T, the number 2, T.org.
The Rita Cosby Show, entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And let's see what the weekend brings with this deal with Iran. The first step, the memorandum. Again, the new news tonight is that Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner may be meeting with Iranian officials over the weekend. So it's going to be a lot of on again, off again. So I say buckle up, guys. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Tony in New Jersey, line 5. Go ahead, Tony.
Hi, Rita. You know, as we're sort of on pins and needles, maybe some of us waiting to see what's going to happen with Iran and what our president is doing, I think it's a good time and a good read would be to look into something called the Berlin Wall. When Germany lost the war and Germany was taken over by communists, they put up a wall so that people couldn't get over to the west side, which was the democratic side. And then it was built in 1961, Rita. Didn't come down until 1989. How many presidents later? Kennedy supported it, but it never happened. And Reagan, and then finally under George H.W. Bush. So it's a very huge amount of time.
But remember, it was
World War
Reagan
II.
famously tear down this wall, bring down this wall.
Yes.
And by the way, I want to
Yes.
give Reagan. You brought up George W. Bush. I also want to give Lech Walesa, and I also want to give Pope John Paul because that trend started. Remember, in first in Poland, and then the wall came down in Germany. But sort of the beginning of the end was in Poland. So. You have to remember, and you bring up a very good point, Tony, because you're right. It takes a long time, but you have to have the will, and you have to have the fight, and you have to have the right president. And you look at those were Republican presidents. You have Donald Trump now, a Republican president, and you have someone who is a warrior. So my bet's on Donald Trump. Have a great weekend, everyone.